have waited long enough. This is Do It Already, the podcast that gets you out of your head and into your power. We talk mindset, neuroscience, and the no BS truth about what it really takes to change your life starting now. I know today is January 7th, depending on when you're listening to this episode, but today I'm talking about New Year's resolutions, why they don't stick, why scientifically and statistically only 9 to 10% of people actually achieve their goals by the end of the year. And every January, the energy is collectively the same. This is going to be my year. I'm going to become that person. No more excuses. You might join a new gym. You might get a new planner, a new color-coded calendar. We go in full makeover mode. And by February, most of us are back in the same habits and routines, just with an extra side of shame. And I want to say this clearly. If your resolutions have never stuck, if you are not the 9 to 10% of people that achieve what you set out to achieve that year, it doesn't mean that you're lazy, broken, or just not disciplined enough. It means that you've been trying to change your life in a way that your nervous system and your dopamine system are never going to agree to. And you've quietly turned your resolution into a scorecard for your self-worth and your identity. This is not just a willpower problem. This is a wiring, safety, and identity problem. And once you understand that, the game changes because you stop fighting yourself and you start working with how your brain and body actually function. And I know that I've talked about this before, but we're going to talk about it again. Your nervous system isn't against you. It just loves what's familiar. So let's start here. Again, your nervous system has one main job. Keep you alive with the least amount of perceived risk. That's it. It's not to make you a 5 a.m. gym person. It's not to help you build a 7-figure business. It's not to turn you into some Pinterest version of yourself. It's survival first, expansion second. All day, literally, under the surface, your nervous system is running 3 quiet questions. Is this safe? Is this familiar? Do I know how this ends? That's why you can stay in a job that drains you every single day, and a relationship that's toxic, unhealthy, unfulfilling. Or you can continue habits that don't make you feel great because your body has decided this might suck, but I know how to survive it. I have a map. Now, I want you to picture that same body on December 31st while you're making your resolution list saying, I'm going to work out 6 days a week. I'm cutting sugar. I'm waking up at 5 a.m. to do X, Y, and Z. I'm finally going to be consistent. On paper, super duper inspiring. But in your system, it lands like we're about to change 10 things at once that we currently use to cope, and we have zero proof that this is safe. And then on top of that, you quietly add, if I don't stick to this, it proves I'm still that same inconsistent mess. So from day one, your nervous system is skeptical and your self-worth is on the line. That is a lot of pressure for a habit. And we need to talk about your brain here and the predictive brain and why new me always feels so hard. Because your brain runs on prediction. It is constantly asking what usually happens when we do this. How much energy will this cost? Is this safe based on our past? Your brain would rather give you a familiar outcome than a perfect one because familiar is easier to predict. So if your current morning looks like you hit snooze 5,000 times, you wake up stressed, you wake up in a tizzy, your brain has a detailed map for that. But the second you decide, I'm waking up early, I'm not going to have my phone, I'm not going to hit snooze, I'm going to go work out, I'm going to do cold plunges, I'm going to drink green smoothies, etc., and so forth, Your brain has never done that consistently. And your brain is like, "Whoa, I don't have a map for this. I don't trust it." So that friction that you feel when you try to be a new person overnight, that's not you being weak. That's your predictive brain saying, "Too much unknown. Pull back to what we understand." And here's where the self-worth kind of sneaks in. When your nervous system naturally resists change, you don't think this is hard because it's new. You think this is hard, so there must be something wrong with me. You are reading a normal biological response as a character flaw. And now your nervous system's resistance becomes proof that you're not enough. There's nothing wrong with you. Nothing. Your system is just doing what it's designed to do. And then we have to also bring dopamine into the conversation because dopamine is not the happiness chemical. It is the chemical that's about pursuit, motivation, and anticipation. It genuinely spikes when something is new, when you have a clear goal, when you're fantasizing about future you, or you're expecting a reward. That is why the first week of January, or whenever you try to change, feels so good for a week or so. You've got those new workout clothes, a fresh planner, the "this is my era" energy. Your brain is flooded with this, "let's go chase this." And then the novelty wears off. Dopamine is designed to dip when the task becomes repetitive. The effort starts to feel too heavy, or the reward isn't instant. So on day 7, day 10, day 18, you hit that wall. You hit the wall where the gym now feels like a chore. Cooking at home feels annoying. Waking up early feels so brutal. You're so tired. You don't want to get out of bed. Maybe it's too cold. Or future you just feels super far away. Your brain starts offering these little tidbits where it's like, maybe this isn't sustainable. Maybe I'm just not that person. Or my favorite, I'll just start over on Monday. You didn't suddenly lose discipline. Your dopamine baseline dropped exactly like it's supposed to do. And the problem is, you're not just feeling a dip in motivation. You're filtering that dip through your identity story. If deep down your internal file says, "I never stick to things," then the moment that dopamine dips or drops, it doesn't feel like chemistry. It feels like confirmation. Here we go again. I knew I couldn't keep this up. This is, I just can't do it. Now we're not just dealing with behavior. We're dealing with who you believe you are. So let's talk about identity. Because under everything you do is this quiet internal file labeled "who we are." It runs automatically. You did not consciously sit down and write this, but it might read like, "We're great at starting, bad at finishing. We're inconsistent. We always fall off by week 2. We're the person who talks about change more than we actually change." Your identity file isn't just mental. Your nervous system is genuinely wired around it. Why? Because identity equals predictability. If your system believes we're someone who quits, it knows exactly how that story goes. It can predict the emotional arc, the crash, the shame, the recovery, because familiar equals survivable. So every time you set a resolution or goal, your body isn't just responding to the goal itself. It's also scanning, does this match who we expect ourselves to be, or does it threaten it? And when you start behaving differently, showing up, choosing the workout, closing Instagram, going to bed earlier, you're not just using discipline. You're challenging that identity file. And your nervous system feels that as a threat because it's like, if we're not the inconsistent one anymore, who are we? Is this safe? What happens in our relationships if we change? What happens if we actually become someone who follows through? So resistance isn't just, "I'm tired." A lot of the times resistance is, "I don't recognize this version of us yet." And that feels unstable. And identity and self-worth are actually glued together here. Because if the old story is, I'm the one who can't stick to anything, or my worth is defined by X, Y, and Z, then every attempt isn't just a habit. It's you asking your body to upgrade who you're allowed to be or want to be. And your body is like, that's cute, but I'm going to fight you while I figure out if this new version of us is safe. And that fight, that's identity rewiring in real time. So here's where your resolution becomes a test of your worth. And here's where it kind of all crashes together. Because whenever we set resolutions or goals, we don't just say, I just want to move my body more. I want to eat better. I want to save money. We quietly turn these into evidence. If I stick to this, it proves I'm XYZ. If I miss it, it means I'm ABC. So now the workout, the budget, the new routine is not just a behavior. It's a verdict. Am I different yet? Can I trust myself? Am I still the person who always drops the ball? So when the dopamine predictably dips or your nervous system predictably resists, you don't experience that as this is a normal part of change. You experience as this is proof I'm still not enough. And because your worth feels on the line, your body does what it always does with something high stakes and unpredictable. It tries to protect you from it. Not because you don't care about the goal, but because every missed day equals I'm a failure. Your system decides, cool, let's protect you from that pain by just not engaging at all. You're not avoiding the gym or writing that book or getting out of that relationship or getting a new job or the habit. You're avoiding the shame you have attached to it. And that's why we have to untangle your worth from whatever goals and resolutions you've set, because your worth is non negotiable. Your resolution or goal is just a container for practice. And once you stop making the resolution or goal your scorecard, you actually have room to fail forward instead of using every wobble as a weapon against yourself. And I've said this before, I'm going to say it again. Growth and change is not supposed to feel comfortable. It's not. Anytime you change something, you set a new goal, you set a new resolution, you're literally changing your identity. And I want you to think about it from the lens of working out. If your goal or resolution is, I am somebody who works out 6 days a week, maybe you want to get a six pack. Your current identity is not that. You don't work out consistently. You don't have a six pack. And so your body is not going to say, okay, yeah, upgrade me. It's going to argue. It's going to argue because you don't see the change and the proof overnight. And every single day that you try to do the new thing, there's a moment where one of the two versions of you steps forward. The version of you that doesn't work out consistently, the version of you that doesn't have that six pack, or the chosen identity that you're trying to grow into, the version that does work out consistently, that does have that six pack. Only one of them is going to win, period. Only one is going to win. And that inner tug of war, that is identity rewiring. That is your body literally learning, are we still the person who avoids this? Or are we the person who does it anyway? And the mistake is actually assuming if I feel resistance, it means I shouldn't do it. Or if it's this hard, I'm not cut out for it. Most of the time, resistance just means we haven't logged enough reps as this new version yet. You're asking your nervous system to literally retire an identity that has been running for years, maybe your whole life. Maybe you've always been the one who quits, or the one who people pleases and never sets boundaries, or the one who starts Monday and collapses by Thursday. Of course, it's going to push back. It's like, wait. We're not that person now. Are you sure? Is it safe? So when your body fights you, when you feel that pull to skip, scroll, delay, or sabotage, or make excuses, instead of making it a moral failure, You can name it for what it actually is. This is the moment my old identity is trying to win. And this rep right here is me voting for my new one. And that obviously doesn't mean that you bulldoze yourself through everything. This is obviously where discernment comes in, because you don't need a 20-minute analysis, just a quick check. Normal resistance, where your old identity is trying to fight, is I don't feel like it. I'm tired. This is annoying. I'd rather do X, Y, Z. Oh, I'm so busy. You're fine. You're just uncomfortable. This is where change happens. This is where you still do some version of what you said you'd do, especially when you're trying to show your nervous system, we actually are this new person now, versus, okay, I'm actually hurt. My knee is hurt. I'm harming myself, whatever. That's not mindset, right? That's not just pushing through. That's your body saying, okay, we need a rest. We need some adjustment or help. We can't force it. It's not either I baby myself or bully myself. It's, if this is discomfort and identity panic, I still show up in some way. If this is actual pain or injury, I listen and adjust. Listening to real pain is obviously not feeling the resolution or goal. It's you sending your body the message, I'm worth protecting, not punishing. That builds trust. And that trust is what actually lets you go further later. So here's how we kind of tie all of this together. We have to make the win smaller than your ego. And here's the part that most people hate, because it's not sexy or amazing. You don't have to crush it. You need to keep the pattern alive. Some days I won, and keeping the pattern alive looks like I walked for 5 minutes instead of 30. I did 10 bodyweight squats instead of a full workout. I opened the laptop and wrote one really crappy paragraph, but I did it. From the outside, it looks like nothing. But internally, you're teaching your system, we don't disappear on ourselves anymore. Even on the hard days, we still show up, even if it's small, because this is who we are. Old identity loves all or nothing. If I can't go 100%, why bother? New identity is I'm the person who keeps the promise even when it's inconvenient and not impressive. That's also a self-worth shift too. It's not, I'm only allowed to feel proud when I'm perfect. It's, I'm allowed to feel proud because I showed up, period. Those are the reps that actually make you change. Those are the reps that actually rewire you. And now let's talk about micro habits. Done right, not as a trend. Because this is where micro habits actually matter. They're not important because TikTok likes them. They work because they don't scare your nervous system or your identity. If you currently wake up and immediately grab your phone and you decide, I'm going to wake up at 5, I'm not going to have my phone, I'm going to do a 60-minute workout, journaling, cold plunge, perfect breakfast. Your body here is absolutely effing not. But if you say, okay, for the next 7 days, my only job is to drink water before I touch my phone, hit the snooze button once, take 5 real breaths before I do XYZ. That's new. It's small. It's manageable, but it's not threatening. And every time you do that, you act differently. Nothing catastrophic happens. You might even feel a tiny bit better, and your brain updates the file. When we do this new thing, we're okay. Sometimes we even like it. That's how identity starts to shift from I never stick to anything to I'm someone who keeps small promises to myself. That's self-worth work disguised as a tiny habit. So what do we actually do with this? If you truly want this year to feel different, and it doesn't even have to be a New Year's resolution, you can apply this at any time in your life. It does not start with a bigger promise. It starts with how you're running your day and how you talk to yourself about it. Think about it like this. You have to take the pressure off of your resolution or goals. You have to stop making it a verdict on who you are. It's not, if I stick to this, I finally changed, or I get this, or I get that. If I don't, then I'm still a mess. It's, this is a process I'm in. Some days I'll crush it. Some days I'll do the bare minimum. Both are still the process. The resolution is not your worth score. It's just a structure. You also need to pick one thing, not a personality overhaul. One anchor habit that, if it became automatically, would quietly upgrade a lot, whether that be walking or lifting a few times a week, getting off your phone the first thing in the morning, or even going to bed 30 minutes earlier. Not 12 resolutions. Do one anchor thing that everything else can eventually hang on. You also need to make your starting point almost stupidly small. Small enough that your ego is like, seriously, that's it? That's the level your nervous system can say yes to on some random Tuesday when you're tired and irritated, which is where this actually counts. And then you can attach it to something that you already do. You don't have to reinvent your entire schedule. It could be after coffee, I drink a glass of water. After I put the kids down for bed, I walk outside for 10 minutes. After lunch, I take a quick walk instead of scrolling. You're not building a new life from scratch. You're stacking one new rep onto something that already exists. And then, of course, when the high wears off, shrink the bar, don't quit. You already know that there will be a dip. So instead of pretending you'll be motivated forever, plan for the boring part because that's where change happens. On those days, your only job is the smallest version of the thing. Maybe 5 minutes instead of 30, one page instead of 10. You keep the pattern alive because that counts. And as we've already said, discernment. When your body complains, you have to get honest about what it actually is. I'm just uncomfortable and don't feel like it. You need to do some version of it. Or my knee is screaming, this is harmful. I'm getting a sharp pain. Adjust, rest, get help. There is a difference between avoiding discomfort and obviously ignoring an injury or something that's actually harmful to you. One needs a push. The other needs you to listen because obviously you're worth not being wrecked by your own goals. And then count your wins as reps of identity, not perfection. You don't need a perfect streak. Your nervous system just needs repeated proof of we show up differently now. That's it. That's the whole point. That is what makes it automatic behavior, where you don't have to think about it anymore. You just do it. So if you take nothing else from this episode, I want you to take this. Your resolutions didn't fall apart because you're weak. They fell apart because you tried to stack a brand new life on top of a nervous system and a self-worth story that has never been trained for it. Can you achieve everything that you want to achieve? Absolutely. But just know this year doesn't need a more dramatic new me moment. It needs reps. Tiny, boring, unglamorous proof that I show up for myself now, even when it's not exciting, even when no one sees it, even when I don't see the proof yet. And when you miss, because you will, that doesn't send you back to zero. It's not evidence that you're doomed to repeat whatever you did last year or the year before that. It's just information. You regulate, you adjust, you take the next honest rep instead of disappearing on yourself for 6 months. So as you're listening to this, I want you to ask yourself, what is the smallest, most doable version of what I want that I'm willing to do today? That is your starting point, not January 1st, not Monday, today. So you already know what that rep is. Go do it already. If you love this episode, follow Do It Already wherever you listen. Drop a comment and share it with somebody who's been stuck in their head for way too long. And if you want more mindset resets, behind the scenes, or just a quick kick in the ass when you need it, come hang with me on TikTok and Instagram at Do It Already Podcast.